one and all, respected dignitaries, faculty members, and my dear participant. On behalf of Gujarat Technical University, Graduate School of Engineering Technology, I welcome you all in the third webinar, Expert Talk on Working with N-Dimensional Array and Performing Statistical Operation with the Python NumPy package, organized by GTU GSAT in association with the Vodafone India Foundation. Graduate School of Engineering Technology is started in 2017. It is AICTE approved institute established and managed by GTU. Currently, two PG courses, ME in Cybersecurity and ME in Mobile Communication Network Technologies, are running at the institute. We are also starting one PG diploma course in data science from this year. Our vision of the institute is to provide excellent technical knowledge and preparing a competent manpower in respective specializations. With this aim, we have organized a continuous webinar series of the emerging areas. I found my immense pleasure to introduce our today's session expert, Mr. Niaz Nirmukhil, Master Trainer from the Learning with the Vodafone University Engagement Program. Niaz is an enthusiastic and dedicated professional having 8 years of experience in IT and teaching sector. He has completed his master in MTech in computer science from the Calicut University, and his area of interest is network security, machine learning, data mining, and computational intelligence. So let us welcome and listen such vibrant personality. Thank you, all of you. Once again, it is thank you to all of the participants who are joining the today's session. Niaz sir,
Yes, sir.
welcome you, and please, it's hand over to you.
Okay, great. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Is it audio, right? Actually, now we are going to start at 11 a.m., right? Or 10:50. We should wait for others to join, right?
No, sir, we can start from session.
Okay, we can start now, right?
Oh.
Yeah. Is it audible, right? Is there any issue with my audio?
No, sir, it is audible, sir.
Okay. Kahar, sir, there is some issue with it. Kahar, it is now okay, right? Okay, fine. So before starting the session, today's session, I welcome all of you for the Vodafone Intelligence Solution Program. It's a one-year program with people. Okay. So last class, Surendra sir introduced about Python and the basics of Python, right? So I hope you guys do know about the basics of Python. If you have any doubts related to the basics of Python, if you want me to cover the basics, I'm ready to cover for you. So I just want all of you guys to use your chat properly, okay? Or if you want to speak, you can unmute and speak as it is a meeting. You can. I just want to know whether you do know the basics of Python. Otherwise, we need to cover the basics, the different data types of Python, that is list, string, like that. Okay. In that man, I just want to know from you guys whether you do know the basics. Then we can move to the number array. Okay, if you already knew about the basics, then we can skip that section and we can move to number arrays. So can you quickly just reply through the chat box so that I can understand what of things I need to cover today's session. Guys, hello. So can you please do your suggestion through the chat box, whether you do know the basics of Python. That is, the basics of Python means the different data types of Python. There is list, tuples, dictionaries, right? String is there, right? Then there are different basics functionalities in the Python. How to create a module in Python, in that manner. Or that we need to directly move to number array. So Niraj said only know basic. Okay. So I just want to know whether you no, before starting the session, okay, whether I need to cover the basics or not. Guys, if you want, I will cover the basics and then we can start the number session tomorrow or the next Saturday. So core Python was very well. Right. Okay. Okay then. Then just give me 1 minute. I just want to open my PPT and I will share the slides for you. I hope you all of you see my screen, right? Yes. Thank you, Sanjay. Fine. Yeah. So I hope you do know the basics well, why we are using Python, why what the significance of using Python and different data types of Python, and how there are different functions and how we can create our own functions in Python and the condition statements like if and for loop, right? And I hope all of you, are done with these things, basic things, and we are going to move to the NumPy package. So before going to the NumPy package, so can you guys able to find out if you are giving a radius, okay, having a list, it's a list having the radius of 5 circles, right? 5, 10, 22, 4, 7. These are radiuses of different circles. So I just wanted to find out the area of these circles. Okay, so directly I will take the Jupyter notebook. 1 second. So I hope you all also see my Jupyter notebook, right? Okay. For example, we have a list of radiuses. Okay, we have a list of radiuses having different values. Okay, let's say I have 5, 10, 13, 55, like that. Okay, 66. So we just defined a list here. Okay, list of radiuses of 5 circles. Okay, so I just want you to know how to calculate the area of these 5 circles. Do you have any idea how to calculate the area of these 5 circles? If you have any idea, you can type the chat box. If you don't know anything like, we just defined a list here, right? So all of you, do parallelly with me. Okay, just minimize, just create 2 tabs. One is for Jupyter Notebook and other for Google Meet. Okay, so whatever now I type in the Jupyter Notebook, please all of you just copy, do it parallelly. Okay, then you can we will have you on the same page, right? So what I'm doing here now, please do it on your notebook itself. Okay. So my question is, we have a list of 5 radiuses. Okay, this is the radius of different circles. Okay. So my question is, we need to find the area of these circles. So can you find the area of these circles? Can you figure out the answer? So guys, I just want this session to be interactive. So, okay, please use your chat box. If you don't know the answer, please type yes. If you don't know the answer, please type no. Guys, is my question clear? So my question is, yeah, you do know, Sanjay, you do know answer, right? So how you find the array, area of this five circles? So what we can't use like this, right? Area equal to no radius as what we can say. What's the equation for area? Pi. Yeah. Instead of pi, we can use 3.14 into radius as sorry into radius, right? But this can't work, right? Because if we are using a list, no. So in order to get each element of list, we need to use a for loop, right? So we need to use a for loop and we need to traverse each element and we need to find the area of each element and we need to append the result to the another list area, right? So this is a list, no. So I just want you to know, for example, uh, I will show you how to create area, how to find the area of list. We need to use a for loop, right? So I just defined a list as area equal to empty list. Right. We can't do direct 3.14 into radiuses is into radiuses because no, we need to, as it is a list, no, we need to traverse each element to find out the area, right? Kahat, yeah, you said right. So for this, to find, to solve this problem, now we need to use a for loop. So I just use a for r in radiuses. We need to use a for loop here, and we need to find the area, and we need to append that result, right? So I'll just show you. So this is the value, right? So this is the way we need to find the area of a list having radiuses, right? So we need to use a for loop and we need to traverse each value over, then we need to find the computation, that is we need to find the area, then we need to append the area, right? In that manner you need to do the operation, right? Okay. I hope you got the answer, right? Is it clear, right? Fine, cool. Yeah. So if you are declaring a list, you need to use this method to traverse each element of the list in order to do any mathematical or statistical operation. Okay. So it is the in this manner only we can do by using the list. Okay. So what happens if you have an list of 10,000 items or list of 1 million items? No, so we need to traverse each item in the list in order to perform some statistical or mathematical operation. So this type of doing is if you are using the for loop and all, it will take time and this process intensive also, right? So in order to avoid this type of if you are have here in this case we have only 5 elements, right? So in practical scenario there will be million of elements will be there, right? Millions of elements will be there in a list. So we can't use this method to do the performance, to do the statistical analysis, because it is much tedious and actually use large space, and it use more consumption of memory, processor and all, right? Because we are using for loop. So if there are, if in this case we are only using a one dimensional list, right? If there is a two-dimensional list, we need to use two for loops, right? In order to get the individual element, we need to use uh, for loop inside another for loop, right? Like a matrix, right? So this is the they need to do the statistical operation in case of if we are using list. So in order to overcome these limitations, we are using NumPy package. Okay. So NumPy is a package. Actually, it is a package built upon C and C++ languages with a wrapper of Python. Okay, and this package consists of different functions. There are different inbuilt functions that helps you to create NumPy arrays and do statistical and mathematical operation over NumPy arrays with at most very fast and easy way. Okay, so NumPy packages are using to create different dimension NumPy arrays. Okay, and using these NumPy arrays, there are different inbuilt functions are there, and using these inbuilt functions, we can easily do our statistical and mathematical operation. Okay, and these operations can be done in within a seconds and within a microsecond, and it is very faster. Okay, so I will show you how we can do this thing, this same problem using NumPy array. Okay, so I just convert this problem. Now we have a problem here with a list having 5 elements. Each element is a radius of each circle, and we need to find the area, right? So I am no. So what we are using a NumPy array here. Okay, so I'm just showing you how we can solve the same problem using NumPy array. Okay, using NumPy module. Okay, or using NumPy package. So uh, let me show you. So NumPy package. So first of all, we need to import NumPy package. So I'm using import statement, import space, NumPy as NP. Okay, so we are importing NumPy package as a reference variable NP. So you can use any reference variable. Okay, we can use N or P. No, we can use any variable because the standard way, if you are googling and or not, there are standard way that we are using NP as a standard way. Okay, so just a reference variable that points to NumPy package or NumPy module. Okay, so we can use any variable here, but a standard procedure is we are using NP. Okay, so we are just we are importing NumPy package here. Okay, just imported the NumPy package. Then we need to create the same radius array, right? Let's use radius NumPy array equal to, and we can create NumPy array from this list. Okay, we have a list called radiuses here, right? So to create a list from this, to create a NumPy array from this list, we can use np.array of that list name. Okay, so this will create a NumPy array of radius, naming radius underscore ARR. Clear? Then I just show you how to find area. Then area underscore array equal to, you can directly perform the operation here. 3.14 into radius underscore AR into, right? Okay, we are getting the same result, right? Same result, but no, here we can directly use the statistical mathematical operation like into directly to the array element instead of using for loop and all, we can do direct manner, right? We can do a mathematical operation directly to the NumPy array. Okay. Okay, so it is very easy for doing mathematical operation. Now we can remove the complexity of loops and all here, right? I hope you got the answer, right? Is it clear? We are using a NumPy array, and now we are solving the same problem with a NumPy array. Okay, I hope you are, this up to this. All of you have. If you have any doubt up to this, you can ask. Is it clear, right? Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So, as I already mentioned that NumPy, it's called as numerical Python, and it is developed by Travis Aliphant. Okay, it can do any mathematical operations like linear algebra, Fourier transform, right? And it is 50 times faster than Python list. Okay, consider it's 50 times faster than the Python list. That is just so fast. And I already mentioned that it is written in C and C++, and we are using a wrapper class over there. We have this the basic code of numerical Python or NPy is written in C and C++, and it is covered with a Python wrapper class. Okay. So in NumPy array, as you discussed that, in NumPy array we can how the NumPy array is different from list. Now in list, we need to use for loops to hours to get each element in order to do some mathematical operation. But in NumPy array, you can perform mathematical operation on the go, right? You can use direct mathematical operators over the NumPy array, right? So it is very easy and it is very convenient, right? When compared to the list, right? So, and the next major advantage of NumPy array is NumPy arrays are much faster than the list. Okay, and it will take less space to store NumPy arrays than compared to the list. Okay, so why NumPy arrays are faster? NumPy arrays are faster because it uses less memory space for storing the data, and the data are stored in contiguous location. So I hope you understood the contiguous location. Contiguous location is locations are near in time, right? It's very close to each other, right? There's no gap between the locations. Okay, and all data in the NumPy array have same data type. Okay, in case of list, if you are comparing the list with NumPy array, in case of list, we can use different data type in same list, right? We can use string, integer, like that. But in case of NumPy array, if you are declaring NumPy array, then that NumPy array will be of same data type. Elements of that NumPy array will be same data type. No? Just compare the concept of array in C and C++, right? Same thing. So same data type will be the in NumPy array, because these concepts, that is, if you are using the same data type, it is easy to handle the memory, right? That is have each data element having the same space to store the store inside the memory, right? So it is easy to handle the memory efficiently. So that's why having the same data type, right? But in case of list, now we can create. For example, I will create a list. We can create a list of, for example, we can create a list with integers, characters, right, and floating point numbers. Now we can create a list like this, right? Okay, but we can't create a NumPy array like this. Okay, what happens that if it is having a string is there, it will convert all the values as string. Okay, what will happen if you are converting this to NumPy array? So I just show you. Yes, I will give any variable n. Okay, n equal to instead of array of L. Okay, what happens? Right, all the elements becomes string. Okay, all the elements inside this NumPy array becomes string, because if there is any element in the string in the list, when we converted that string, that list into NumPy array, it will become, all the elements will become string. Okay, in that manner, if any elements are having, you got the idea, right? In NumPy array, all elements have same data type. Okay. So priority is, if there is a string, then NumPy array will be, all elements will be string. Okay, if there is no string, integers and floating points, then the NumPy array will be floating point. Okay, in that manner, which have the more priority will get that data type. Okay, that is, it automatically cast that type into that thing. Okay, I hope you got the idea, right? Um, Shivagami asks some, sir, can we use same in PyCharm? And PyCharm also you can use, but now we are preferring Jupyter Notebook because it is easy and it is now very interactive to use Jupyter Notebook. You can get the result next to line, right? There is no need of execution like that, right? So it is easy, and we are preferring all of you to use Jupyter Notebook for your data science projects and all, because it is very easy to use Jupyter Notebook, and it is very interactive way, right? Jupyter Notebook is designed that manner. So all of the professionals know they are using the Jupyter Notebook for their research purpose and all. Okay, if you are going for getting the if you are searching the data science projects in GitHub and all, no, you can get much documentations in Jupyter Notebook. Okay, you can use PyCharm, Python, any because all are the frameworks of Python, but we are specifically we are focusing only on Jupyter Notebook, and we are emphasizing all of you to use Jupyter Notebooks only. Okay, that is one of the prerequisites of this session. You need to install Jupyter Notebook. We need to install Jupyter Notebook through Anaconda. I hope all of you install Jupyter Notebook, right? Okay, because it is very easy for us, and we are doing all our experiments in Jupyter Notebook. In this session, on coming session also, we have a different session related to machine learning, deep learning. Okay, in coming session we have. So all of the things we are doing in Jupyter Notebook only. Okay, so that is one of the prerequisites. We always share that prerequisite. Okay, so in case of NumPy arrays, if you are you got the concept right, why we are using NumPy arrays and the difference between the NumPy arrays and the list. Okay, I hope you got the concept. If you have any doubts, you can ask to the chat. Shall I move on to the next slide, right? Okay. So I need some more yeses. If you have any question, you can ask. Okay. Fine, cool. Because we need to cover a lot. We have time bordered seminar, right? We need to. Now we have only 1 hour, right? So I need your cooperation. I need to use chat box very well, right? So need quick responses. Okay. Webinar recording. I hope sir is handling the recording and all. I hope. Sir, this
Hello,
recording,
sir.
right?
Yes. Hello, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We
So
will
after
share
the
the
session, it will
recording.
be shared. Yeah. After
We
session, it will be
will put
shared.
in the YouTube also. We will share the link also to all the participants.
Cool. Yeah, perfect. So no issues. You can get the recording after the session. Okay. So you can go through the recording. No? You can go through this again to find out. If you have any doubts, you can ask us. Okay. So we were with you, it is a 1 year long program, and we were with you for handling, mentoring new people, right, regarding the data science project. Okay, so okay, move on to the next slide. So as I said, list it is as in case of list, it is heterogeneous and data are stored not in a contiguous location. We need to use another linked list to map the memory location. Okay, but in case of NumPy arrays, the data are stored in a contiguous location, and not if so. This storage structure, no, we only need the first address of first element, right? To get the address of first element, we need to get with the help of we need to get the other element also, right? Because the whole element have same data type, so the whole element have same amount of space for storing the value, right? So from this image itself, it is crystal clear for all of you why NumPy arrays are performing much faster than compared to list. Okay. So this is another example, okay, structure difference. In case of Python list, you have a series of memory location, list of memory location is there, and with the help of list of memory location only we can access the element, right? But in case of NumPy array, we can get the data directly, right? There is no linked list type of thing, right? So I can show you one more example. How much? No, we are already discussed that NumPy are faster because it consumes less memory, right? So I will show you. In this case, we have two same arrays, right? One is radiuses 5, 10, 13, 55, and 66. It is a list, right? And another is radius underscore array, right? It is a NumPy array, right? If you want, I will show you. Both are contain same value, right? Radiuses and radius underscore array. One is NumPy list, other one is list. One is NumPy array, and other one is list, right? So this is a one-dimensional NumPy array, right? So I will show you the how much size is required for by storing a list. Okay. Uh, in order to get the size of a list, I will show you. So in order to get the size of list, we need to import another module, import sys module we need to import. Okay. Then I will show you print size of radiuses. So with the help of sys module, we have a function called get size of uh, the name of list is radiuses, right? So no, the size of one element inside the list radius is 96. That is, it's requires 96 byte. Okay. In here now we have 5 elements, right? So 96 into 5, that is 480, right? So 480 bytes is required for storing this radiuses list. Okay. Okay, for same scenario, if you are storing a NumPy array, so we can just check the size of NumPy array. So in case of NumPy array, we have a direct attribute here to find the size. I will show you the size of NumPy array. Sorry, NumPy array radius underscore AR, right? So in order to get the have an attribute called item size. So size of NumPy array radius underscore R is 4. That is, each element stored in NumPy array takes constants only 4 bytes. Okay, so we have a 5 element here, so it's only 20 bytes. Okay, and it will, from this now we can say that it's much faster, right? 50 times more. That is, it's very much faster than case of storing, right? So NumPy arrays will take less storage space. So that makes NumPy array to do the computational performance much faster. So less space means obviously it will take less time to compute, right? Okay, so it is memory efficient and it is very less time to compute also. Okay, I hope you got the difference. Okay, now what I'm showing is how much space is required for storing a list when compared to a NumPy array. Okay, in case of NumPy array, each element requires only 4 bytes to store, but in case of list, we need to use the number of bytes is 96 bytes for one element. Okay, in this list we have 5 elements, so total bytes used is 96 into 5, and here 4 into 5. Okay, so very much lesser space is required for NumPy array. Okay, so I just want you to show this directly. That's why I'm, with the help of this command, now we can directly get an idea. Okay. Any doubts to you guys? If you have any doubts, you can ask. No. Okay. So I hope you got the concept, right? Why we are using, what's the significance of using NumPy arrays over list, right? So Up to this, clear, right? If you have any doubts up to this, you can ask. I need a quick response. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Can I move to next session? Next slide. Can I move to? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay. So in number arrays, we can create one-dimensional number arrays. We can create two-dimensional and three-dimensional number arrays, right? So what we created here, we created as a radius is a one-dimensional number array, right? So for two-dimensional number arrays, we have two axes. Okay, in one-dimensional number arrays, we have only one axis. Axis is 0, and for two-dimensional number array, we have two axes. One is axis 0 and axis 1. Okay, and axis 0 is across the rows, and axis 1 is across the columns. Okay, and in three-dimensional array, we have three directions. The axis will be there, right? Axis 0, axis 1, and axis 2, right? Right? Yeah. So we have some technicalities, some attributes we need to know when we are initializing a number array. So one is dimension. Okay, I will show you. We have a number array. Okay, just create another number array. For example, np dot array. So I'll just create simple number array 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is a one-dimensional number array, right? So in order to get the dimensions, we have an attribute called ndim. Okay, so I will show you print of the name of array 1 dot ndim. So dimension of this array is 1, right? Right? Yeah. That is dimension. If you are declaring a two-dimensional array, how we are declaring two-dimensional array? I will show you. U equal to np dot array of. You need to do square brackets. You need to use. Okay. Then you need to enclose. Okay. So this is a two-dimensional array. I will show you. Print 2. We display this one, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So now to define two-dimensional array, we need to use np dot array of. We need to use one row must be in square brackets, enclose, comma, second row in square brackets, right? And it all enclosed in another square brackets, right? In that manner, we need to declare, right? And the dimension of this is two dimension, right? So to get the dimension, print 2 dot ndim, right? So that is ndim is an attribute to find the dimension. Okay. So so how we are to define a three-dimensional array? In order to define the three-dimensional array, we need to add one more square bracket here, right? Okay, I will show you. Okay, I will show you how to create three-dimensional in this easy manner. Okay, after this session, I will show you after this slide. So next one is shape, right? Shape means describes the length of each dimension of the array. Okay, for example, in this slide, so shape of this one-dimensional array is 4. 4 means number of elements in this is 4, right? That is 4. So shape of this two-dimensional array is 2 by 3. That is number of elements in the row is 2, right? 2 rows and 3 columns. That is 2 by 3, right? That is number of elements in axis 0 and number of elements in axis 1, right? In case of three-dimensional array, the shape is number of elements in each axis. That is axis 0, axis 1, and axis 2. So 4 elements in axis 0 and 3 elements in axis 1 and 2 elements are there in axis 2, right? That's the shape. So here now the shape of one dimension is, the shape of one is, we'll show you print 1 dot shape, right? 3, right? because three elements are there here, right? One, two, three. Three elements are there because only one dimension, only one axis is there, right? So three elements are there. But in case of two-dimensional array, 2 by 3, right? Is two columns and three rows, right? That is two elements in axis 0 and three elements in axis 1. Okay, that's the shape. And next one is data type. To get the data type, we need to use D type. Data type of element, we need to use D type. Okay, so to get the data type of element of one is one dot D type. So what's the data type? Here the data type is integer, right? We already declared this as integer, right? So this data type is integer. Okay, that is D type is to get the data type, and the last one is strides. And strides is very important because strides is the number of bytes in order to you need to step in each dimension. That is, if you are getting I will show you in case of two-dimension array, we are defined like two-dimension array here, right? Print of 2 here, right? So to get the strides of this two-dimension array, you need to use 2 dot strides. Okay, that is one is 12, another one is 4. So what is 12 means that in order to get along the row wise, how much byte is need to traverse? That is from 1, in order to get the 4, we need to traverse 12 bytes. Okay, so how much byte we need to traverse in each dimension? That is actually the strides denote. Okay, the first axis is axis 0, that is row wise, right? Axis 0, right? So after getting the value 1, in order to get value 4, okay, we need to traverse 12 bytes, right? No, 4 means if you're getting the value 1, in order to get value 2, we need to traverse how much byte? That is 4 byte, right? Because all elements are integer, that is 32-bit integer, and 32-bit means 4 byte, right? So it requires 4 byte to store data. Okay, so after 1, in order to get 2, we need to traverse 4 byte. That is, strides actually denote number of bytes need to traverse in order to get element in each dimension. Okay, in each axis. Okay, so in this case only two axes is there, axis 0 and axis 1, because it is a two-dimensional array. In order to get each starting element of axis 1, we need to traverse 12 bytes. Okay, in order to get for a case of axis so axis 0, we have to 12 bytes. Axis 0 is row wise. Okay, axis 1 is column wise, right? We need to compare the columns, right? So to get 1, in order to get 4 from 1, we need to traverse 12 bytes. In order to get 2 from 1, we need to traverse 4 bytes. That is along columns, we need to traverse 4 bytes. Along rows, we need to traverse 12 bytes. Okay, that is the concept of strides. I hope you got the idea. One dimension ending. There are 4 parameters we discussed, right? 4 attributes. One is ending, shape, D type, and strides. Is this clear, right? If you have any doubts, you can ask. Is anything I want to repeat? Is clear, right? Some more yeses? Yes. Okay, fine. Yeah. So I will move to next slide. So this slide now I already discussed about two-dimensional array, right? Yeah. So next one is how to convert list to number array and vice versa, right? So I guess here now I will show. I already shown you about how to convert list to number array, right? You need just here now we just convert a list to number array. Just need to pass np.array of the name of list. Okay, in that manner we can convert a list to number array, right? This is an example, right? We already did that. Okay, so how you have to convert number array to list? numbered array to list. How we have to convert. So for that we have a function called toList function. Okay, I will show you. So here we have a array, right? So print one. This is a one-dimensional array, right? So to convert that print one-dimensional array to list, so I will show you one underscore list. Okay, equal to so one dot to list. So to list actually function the to list function convert a number array to list. Okay. So now it is a list. Okay. So just remember to list function. Okay, used for converting a number array to list. Okay. It's clear, right? How to convert number array to list and list to number array, right? So there is some small task for you that you can come to that task. Okay. So I will show you one thing. If you have a how to use conditions over number array. Okay. Next one is I will show you conditions over number array. How to apply conditions over number array. Okay. So for example, if you have a number array, so for example, y equal to number array, for example, number array of you can create number array this number also. You can directly you can pass value, right? 6, 7, 9, 11, like that. So y is a number array having elements 3, 6, 7. So one dimensional number array. Okay. So yes, I just want to get I want to apply a Boolean condition over here. Okay. For example, just I play high equal to okay, this high equal to y greater than 5. So I just defined a Boolean condition that is y greater than 5. Okay. Just defined a condition y greater than 5 and we name that condition as high. Okay. So and then just pass that condition over here y of high. And it will print value that is greater than 5. That is, we are filtering the values of this array based on a specific Boolean condition. Okay, you can use any Boolean condition here. For this example, let's use y greater than 5. Y is our number array, and y greater than 5 we are using condition, and we have defined that our variable height. That then y of high is the values which are satisfied this condition, right? That is 6, 7, 9, 11, right? 3 is excluded, right? So that is the example of how we can filter out the values of number arrays based on some condition in that manner. Okay. So what happens is that it just y of high means the value. It will not change the list. The list, sorry, it will not change the number array. Our number array is same, right? Print of y same value. So but y of high is different, right? By filtering this. Same thing you can use like this also. Y of, for example, y of we can directly apply things here. Y greater than 9. Right? So y greater than 9 means array of 11. Instead of applying to variable, we can directly use that condition over inside the square bracket to get the filter out. Right? This way also we can use Boolean condition over array in order to filter specific values. Okay? Is it clear? Is it clear how to filter? Amna is asking certificates. Yeah, so you will get the certificates based on Vodafone embedded solution after this session, after this workshop. there is an assessment. No, you have an assessment. Now, after completing that assessment, you will get the certificate based on that assessment. Okay. Okay. Shall I move to next? Yes. Yeah. So next thing I will show you how to create some predefined metrics, predefined number arrays. That is zeros, ones, identity number arrays, full number arrays, and there is one more thing. It's random number arrays. So okay. So next I will show how to create a zeros number array. Okay. So now to get the zeros number array, we can directly use a function method called zeros, np dot zeros. Then we need to pass a shape 2 by 3, a shape that is 2 rows and 3 columns. So it will create uh, a zero matrix based on the shape. Okay, so it will create a zero matrix of 2 by 3. Okay, so it is now we need to use this type of matrices for some statistical or mathematical operation, doing some statistical mathematical operation over our existing number arrays. Now we need to create some ones array, twos array, in that random arrays we need to create for doing some analysis purpose. So that's why I'm showing. So to get a zeros matrix means matrix or arrays having all values have zeros. Okay, so we need to pass the shape and it will produce the result like this. Okay, for example, I will show you another example. For example, 5 by 4, and we can get a two-dimensional array having all elements will be filled with zeros. Okay, in the same manner, we can create a three-dimensional array also. Okay, 5 comma 4, for example, 2 comma 3 comma 2. We need to use square bracket, right? So to create a three-dimensional array. So what is three-dimensional array means? It will create two 3 by 2 matrices, right? First we need to in order to get the idea of three-dimensional array, we need to traverse from right to left. That is 3 by 2. Now we need to create two 3 by 2 matrices here, right? So one 3 by 2 matrix is this, and other 3 by 2 matrix is this. Okay, there's two 3 by 2 matrices. This is three-dimensional array. Okay, that is consists of two two-dimensional arrays. Yeah, that is way of creating matrix or arrays having all values of zeros. You need to pass the shape. Okay, according to the shape, now we create an array. Okay, same case for ones, np dot ones. Okay, for example, 5 by 6, we will create all elements having 1. Okay, and then our next one is full matrix. Full matrix is we can, instead of ones and zeros, we can mention which element we need to use. That is, for example, so we have full of 3 by 2 matrix, and we need to pass after the shape, we need to pass the value. That is, I just here now passing value 9. So we will create a 3 by 2 matrix having all values filled with 9. Okay, that is use of full. Okay, same scenario, we can use any shape. Okay, we can use any shape. Here now I just use two-dimensional shape, 3 by 2. Okay, same case in case of identity matrix. What is identity matrix? Identity matrix are all diagonal elements, right? All diagonal elements will be 1, right? That is the thing of identity matrix, and it's always two-dimensional. Okay, so always two-dimensional. So I just create the identity matrix here. So identity matrix of 5, that is way of creating identity matrix. The identity matrix of 5 means to create a two-dimensional array in which all elements in the diagonal have 1 and the rest all elements will be 0. So that's the concept of identity matrix, right? Same as. Okay. Then I will show you how to These are clear, right? Zeros, ones, full and identity matrix, right? Is it clear, right? Yes, okay. So I will show you next. I will show you random, right? How to create a random number arrays. Okay, I will show you. To create number array is np dot random dot rank, and we need to pass the shape 3 by 4. So what will happen? It will create a 3 by 4 matrix, a 3 by 4 array, okay, having elements random feed. These are values are randomly fed, and value of each element is between 0 and 1. Okay, all elements will be between 0 and 1. Okay, so if you are now again, if you are executing the same thing, you will get another randomly assigned 3 by 4 matrix. Okay. If you execute every time, it will value change. Okay, that is random. And I will show you another random command also. For example, random dot rand int. So it is a floating point random array. If you want only integer random array, I will have to rand int we can define. So np dot random dot rand int. Then we can define, for example, 10. I will show you, and size equal to 3 by 2. So what happens is that it will create a random integer matrix having size 3 by 2. They are mentioning the size, and they are mentioning the limit also 10. 10 means up to 10. The values is between 0 to 9. Okay, it is filled with values between 0 to 9, exclusive of 10. Okay. This also now we have another way we can use the start index also. This is the end index. We can use start index. 5 comma 10 means inclusive of 5, exclusive of 10, between 5 and 10. But the 10 end limiter, no, it is exclusive. Okay. So it will create a random array inclusive of 5 and exclusive of 10. That is between 5 and 10 and exclusive of 10. Right? In that manner we can create. Okay. So now the session will discuss about how to create zeros, ones, identity, full random number arrays. I hope you understood this. Is it clear? Guys? Nirman asked one question. Why is it only 675? No, just any value between 5 to 10. Okay. If you run this again, you get another value because it's randomly choosing some values. Okay, between 5 to 10. This 10 is exclusive. Now, in case now here now we get 6 and 9. No? Like that. Now some random values will come. Is it clear, right, Nirman? Yes. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Next session we are going to discuss some more functions that is useful for your statistical operations and all. If you are dealing with large arrays, okay, I will show you some more functions. That is arrange function, linspace function, and reshape. This all needed for us for doing statistical and to do some operations over number arrays to get the required array. Okay, I will show you what is arrange. Okay, arrange means a range to get, for example, np dot arrange of 10 means it will create an array having values 0 to 9. 10 values, okay, between 0 to 9. Okay, that is exclusive of 10. Okay, starting from 0, ending with 9. Okay, we can't use this 10, no, 10 is exclusive. Okay, as now every all d limiter, end limiter, right? you have any end limiter, in case of Python, it is exclusive of that end limiter. Up to that, okay, in that manner, the Python works, right? So if you want a range of values between a specific thing, that is, for example, I need a range of values between uh, 10 to 20. That is exclusive of 20. Okay, it will create a value from 10 to 20. If you want to include 20, you need to use 21 here. And from 10, you need to use start limiter, that is inclusive, and limiter is exclusive, right? And there is another way you can use one more parameter for step function. I will show you. In case of arrange, we can use 10 to 21 comma 2 means 2 is a step. That is after 10 plus 2, 12. Then plus 2, 14. That, in that manner. It's a step. It is called a step. The start, end, and step. Okay. And next one is linspace. Okay. Actually, linspace is used to get evenly spaced. To get evenly spaced values. I'll show you an example. For example, np dot linspace of using the floating point value 2.0 to 3.0 and num equal to 5. So what happens is that it will create a number array from 2 to 3 and number of elements will have 5. So it is equally distributed, right? Includes here now 3 is also included. So 2 to 3, 2, 2.25, 2.5, 2.75, 3 in that manner. Okay, if you want only 4 elements, then number equal to 4 means here. In this case, now delimiter is inclusive, okay, in linspace. Okay. That is, it will equally distributed from to 2. Number equal to 4 means 4 elements will be there in that array. So if it is 8, what will happen? No, it will divide according to that. No? The difference between elements is same. That is 0.14 something, right? All the difference between elements same. That manner. Okay, that is the use of actually linspace. Okay, by default, the endpoint is included. Okay, by default. If you want to exclude the endpoint, that is, if you want to exclude the 3 here, you need to mention here that, for example, endpoint equal to false. In this case, you need to mention, if you mention it as endpoint equal to false, which is f is capital, then no, we are excluding this endpoint 3. Okay, this endpoint is not included that array, a certain array. Okay, rest will be same. It is equally distributed to 2.215 that manner. Have 8 elements, right? Number equal to 8, endpoint equal to false means this 3 is exclusive of 3. Okay, by default it is inclusive, and if you want to include, no, we need to use another. No, if you want to exclude, we need to use a parameter called endpoint, right? Okay. Then next is reshape. So reshape is very useful command to change the shape of any array. Okay, for example, if an array R2 equal to np dot arrange of 60, so this array, so this is the array is a one-dimensional array having 16 values, 16 elements, right? Values starting from 0 to 15, right? So if we want to change the shape to this shape to, we can change this one-dimensional array to two-dimensional array and three-dimensional array like that. That means we can change the shape of arrays. Okay, with the help of reshape method. Okay. So how we have to change the shape? For example, here np dot. For example, I will show you. ARQ, right? ARQ dot reshape. So ARQ is a number array. While reshaping number to we have 16 elements, right? So we need to reshape it 4 by 4, right? So reshape need to what reshape only need to accommodate all elements, right? You want to accommodate all 16 elements, we need to create 4 by 4 matrix, right? That is multiplication of this will be number of elements, right? 4 into 4 is 16, right? In that manner, okay? Or if you want three-dimensional array, that is 4 into 2 comma 2. You can use like that, right? And for create a three-dimensional array. That is 4 into 2 into 2 is 16, right? It includes, I think, in order to, we need to accommodate all the elements here. 16 elements are there. So if you are using a reshape, you need to accommodate all the 16 elements for the new array also, right? So the shape must be in that the multiplication of shape, right? 4 into 2 into 2 equal to number of elements in that array. You know, 16 elements, so 4 into 2, 8, 8 into 2, 16. Okay, that man need to create, use reshape. So if you are using like 3 here, no, it will show error. Okay, because now more elements needed, right? We have only 16 elements here. So in this array, to complete this array, 4 into 2, 8, 8 into 3, 24 elements needed, right? So it is not fixed. That is why now you can get the error as cannot reshape array of 16 to 4 by 2 by 3. Okay, I hope you got the concept, right? With the help of reshape, we can convert any dimension array to any another dimension of array. Okay, so this is a three-dimensional array. That is 2 by 4, 2 by 2 array will be there, right? This one 2 by 2, second 2 by 2, third 2 by 2, and fourth 2 by 2. That's manner. Okay. Any question here? How to rearrange so how can we print negative 0 positive like that? You can use arrange function also. You can try it out. Okay, you can try it out using negative function. I'm just covering the basics. Right? You can work with this basic. No, now you can try your own things. No, based on this thing. Right? Just introducing you some of things are here. There are some of things are functions are there. Can be used along with the number arrays. No? Actually, I'm just introducing you these things. Okay, you can work around these things. No, no, yes, it is possible to create a negative array with the help of arrange. Surely it is possible. Okay. So how, Nirmal, how to rearrange the matrix value by column? No, here no. What happens that it will take the values according to the one-dimension array only. Okay, it will create here now we need to create 4 2 by 2. In this case, we need to create 4 2 by 2, right? So we will create first 4 elements and make it as a 2 by 2, and then create another 4 elements and make it as a 2 by 2. In that manner, it works. Okay, if you are creating 4 by 4 here, what happens now? It will select first 8 elements. It means it will create as from left to right only. It will select group from left to right only. Okay, in the case of ratio. Okay. If you want to transpose, there is a function called transpose. You can transpose the array. For example, here now, for example, I will save this thing to array 3. So array 3 equal to this one and print AR3. Right? This is our new array, right? After reshape. So you can use another function called transpose to get the transpose. Dot P is enough. So it will transpose, no, matrix transpose already studied, right? Same thing. Convert row to column, column to row. So use T to transpose the value. Okay? Yeah. You got it? To get the transpose, dot capital T. Very easy, right? In case of number arrays, it's very easy. There are a lot of predefined functions are there now. We need to work around this thing now to find this. Okay? So, okay, we have an array 3 here, right? Okay. Next one, I'll show you how to indexing array. So array indexing is like that, right? Same as string here. Now array index starts from 0 to end, and there is from left to right and right to left, right? From right to left, starting from -1, -2, and first element is obviously 0 in that manner, right? So, for example, here we have an array print. I'll show you print array of 2, right? We can use 3, print array of 3. Okay. So, in order to get this element 5, how to get this element 5? The first is 0th row, right? This is 0, starting from index is starting from 0, right? So 0, 1 in that manner, right? So in order to get element 5, we need to use ARR of 1 comma 1. So ARR 3 of 1 comma 1, right? Right? We are getting a value here, right? If you want to change the value 5 to 100, now we can directly assign here, right? ARR 3 of 1 comma 1 to 100. Okay, then just we can print it, right? It will change to 100, right? The first one is point to the row, and second one is point to column. Same as metrics. I hope you understood. Okay. So if you want to get all elements in first row, if you want to get all elements in first row, so how we are going to get all elements first row? For that, we need to use array of 3. Sorry. So first row, right? First row means 0th index, right? So 0. So we need to here we need to use 0, comma, all columns. To get all columns, simply you can use colon. Okay. To get all, we can use colon. Okay. Here column. That is first row and all columns. Okay. If you want to get the third column is 2, 6, 10, 14, right? You need to use like this. Third column is we need to get all rows and third column. That is index is 2, right? 0, 1, 2, 1, right? Right? Got the things, right? How to get the value from the array, number array, right? There is any doubts related to that? So how will you get the value 10 to 11, this value 10, 11, 14, 15? If you want to get this value only, 10, 11, 14, 15, how you can do? 10, 11, 14, 15. We only need to get this value, 10, 11, 14, 15. Can anyone try out and find the answer? And if you find the answer, you can use chat box to enter your answer. So for that, I will show you. Yes, we have a time restrictions. That's right. If we want 10, 11, right? So we need column, rows, second and third, right? 0, 1. So 2 is to 3, comma. So we selected 2 is to 4 in that manner. Wait, 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and here 2 is to 4, right? Now, the 4 means we are using 4 because delimiter is exclusive. Okay, that it will select second and third row, and it will select second and third column. Okay, in that manner. Okay, 2 is to 4, comma 2 is to 4 for getting this session. 10, 11, 14, 15. It's clear, right? Rajiv, Provide certificate links. Actually, Raju, certificates only provide after the completion of
Hello,
entire workshop.
hello,
Yeah.
sir. One
Yes.
thing I want to clear. We are every Saturday we will arrange the session. Okay.
Okay.
So I want to convey a message to all participants that we or every Saturday we will arrange a session. We are not providing any certification for this session. But if we organize the FDP or anything other session, online session, then at time we will provide the certificate. Thank you. Nia, sir.
I don't get you, sir. Can you repeat?
Audible? Hello.
Okay, it's clear now. Can you repeat
Ah,
what you said?
yes, I want to say that on the webinar we are not providing any certification. If we arrange the FDP or like event, at the time we will provide the certification to all the participants.
Okay, fine.
Uh,
So, this is the case. I will, hope you guys clear about this indexing thing, right? Do you want the extra things? No? Is there any question related to that? Okay. Is it clear, right? If you have any doubts, you can ask to the chat box. Any doubts relating to this session, how to get values from the array, right? So we discuss about this, right? Is it clear, right? Okay. So let's just move to statistical functions. Okay. Then we can conclude after that. Statistical functions. So there are some statistical functions like we have max to get the maximum value. We have min to get the minimum value. Okay. Max, min, sum, sum, cumulative sum, like that. Okay. Then we have variance to find the variance, to find the standard deviation. So there are a lot of inbuilt functions to find these kind of statistical things. Okay. So for example, here we have array, right? Just in the same array here, array 3, we have array, right? 0, 1, 1, 1. So in order to get the max of this array, you can directly use nk dot max of the name of array of array 3, right? So max of array is 100, right? We get the answer is 100, right? So same as we can find the max along a specific axis. For example, I'll show you nk dot max of array 3, comma axis equal to 0. So axis equal to 0 means what happens? So axis equal to 0 means it is along the 0 means from top to down, right? It's along the rows, right? I will show you in the PPT. This two-dimensional array, the axis 0 means from top to down, that is along the rows. So it will compare values along each rows in this manner from top to down. So that is axis 0. So in this case, it will compare values 0 for age 12 and find the maximum of that value. Okay, and similarly, it will find the maximum of 109 that manner. Okay, so it will get an array of 12, 100, 13, 15, right? 12 is the maximum value of this first column, right? Along this rows, and along this one 100, along this one 14, along this one 50. That is axis 0. Okay, now to get the column wise large, we need to use axis 1. Okay, for example, in case of here, is axis 1, we will get a column like that is 0, 1, 2. We compare at all each columns, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, the maximum is 3. Here, second row 400, 6, 7. No? We compare the maximum of that. Maximum is 100. That matter. Okay. Same you can use same thing function. You can use instead of max to get the minimum. You can use min. Same way. Okay. To get the sum, you can use sum. For example, I will show you case of sum of function is sum. To get here, no, it will take the sum of all elements. It will add upon the value of all elements to get the value. 250. Right? Same as you can use the axis also. Axis of equal to 0 means it will sum across this one. 0 plus 4 plus 8 plus 12, that is 24. 1 plus 100 plus 9 plus 30, that is 100. That one. Okay. And cum sum, next one is cumulative sum. Cumulative sum has no. For example, I will show you. Np dot cum sum of R3. No? What happens is it will cumulative some cumulative manner. That is first 0, then 0 plus 1, 1, 0 plus 1 plus 2, 3, 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3, 6, that manner. Okay? That is cumulative sum. So there is another function called to get the median, that number we can find out. Mean is average, right? So in order to get the average, you can use mean of ARM. That is average of all values. Okay. Then there is an option for finding the median, variance, standard deviation, like that. Okay. So there are similar manner. There are different functions here, right? This is clear, right? You can use all statistical. There are direct statistical functions are available for doing operations over the scenario. Okay? Is it clear? Up to this clear, right? Yes, in case in case of mean and median also we can use axis. I will show you. This to find the median of a specific axis, then use axis 0. So it will find the mean of this one 0 plus 4 plus 8 plus 12 divided by 4, right? Along the axis also. Same as for median also, right? Syntax is same. No, need to find the function only, right? Mean that one. Okay. Is it clear, right? If you have any question related to this session, you can ask the chat room. Hope it is clear for.
Okay. So, okay.
Sir, I will share the feedback link and a poll questions is there. I will share with you. You can forward polls
Okay.
to us.
Okay. We will also upload the recorded session on YouTube, and after that, we will share the link to all the participants, those who are registered in this session.
Sure. Yes, that's great. Okay. Yeah. I will
Thank you,
share the
Neil.
feedback link soon. Okay.
Okay. We will share it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Niyaz, sir.
Thank
Also,
you.
thanks to all the participants who joined this today's session. On behalf of Gujarat Technology University, I convey heartily thanks to all the participants, those who are present in this session. Also, I wish my express thanks and sincere thanks to behalf of Dr. H.T. Panchal, sir, to Graduate School of Engineering Technology. His concern and motivations, we will arrange and organize such kind of the webinar series. I would like to thanks once again, thanks to all the participants for your active participation. Thanks to all. We will meet soon with the new topic in the next Saturday. Thanks to all.